said Malik may get some work in practice this week. Can you give us an update on him if he might be available?
Yeah, he did non-contact yesterday. We didn't do anything with contact, and today we'll test it out, see how he feels, and then just make a determination based on how he's feeling if Saturday, if there's a real chance or not. Not only can he do contact, but also just his shape, and just it's one practice. So we'll see how he does today and tomorrow, and go from there. But he felt pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, similarly, come on, okay. Any worse for the wear effects from the other night?
Yeah, he's good. Our managers are good. One of our managers, I'm not going to name names, he's been in a tough spot, man. He's gotten elbowed in the face earlier this year, got stitches, got some after effects of what happened. No, he's doing a lot better.
Jon, a lot of success on the break against State. How do you balance when to go versus when to get into your stuff, especially against a team like Carolina that likes to get out and go?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're obviously great at that, but it's also a recipe for what we do, and we're going to be who we are. And when we get a chance to get on transition, we're going to do it. It's much easier to do that when you get stops. I think that's a big deal. Not like we never look to push on makes, but when you get a miss or a rebound, especially because our guards are such, they're really good rebounders. That's been the best starter for our break.
Jon, as you dove deeper into the film from Monday night, what stood out offensively? Were there things that went wrong both against Wake Forest and NC State that are correctable?
For sure, no question. I thought it was maybe our first time in a while. I thought we rushed some shots, and we've been one of the best sharing teams in the country, and our guys have played so unselfishly. But I thought we just rushed some shots. Also, I thought we missed some open shots, and that can become contagious a little bit. Sometimes there's carryover. I think for our guys, just to continue to have confidence with our open ones. It's who we're going to be. It's what we do. I think we can really shoot the ball. So that's one thing for sure. And then the second thing is just we have to play through contact better. Wake and NC State, they're very disruptive. They do a good job. They're the two best teams in our league at creating turnovers, and they have active hands. So just in high traffic areas, we have to protect it better. And that's something we've worked on this week.
Jon, you're the only coach that has sat on that podium that has been in this as both a player and a coach. Having experienced both of that, is there something that you do that you approach this differently as a coach?
Well, I think to sit up here and say, just like another game, and I don't think I can say that because college game day isn't here, every game. The anticipation, the noise around it. I'm not going to act like that's not there. That is, but that's also what you want to be in. The thing that can impact is your preparation, your focus. And so that's really, to me, what it comes down to as a player or as a coach. You're not approaching it differently. You just understand that there's different circumstances around it. Just like if you're, fortunate to advance in ACC tournament or the NCAA tournament. And so not every game's the same, but the focus and preparation is. And that's how we're going to approach this one.
Coach, I wanted to kind of piggyback off that. Just you have two emotional wins over Wake Forest and State on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to kind of keep the players level-headed going into this matchup, not let the emotion kind of overwhelm what's the task at hand on Saturday night?
Well, I think for our guys, we believe we have a deep mission, and I haven't had to convince or persuade them one time this year to bring energy or to be engaged. They've naturally done that on their own. Obviously, there's different moments, in practice or games where I have to get them going. That's my job, my responsibility. But we have great leadership. The connection on the team is deep all the way through the entire team. I don't care, walk-ons, managers, everybody. And so, yeah, they were emotional. Like those two games where we had to claw back in both of them. So I think the biggest thing is the day off, the recovery, yesterday, that's why we didn't do contact. We just have to keep them fresh. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think we'll be good if we do that.
John again. I want to circle back to rebounding if I can. Whatever metric you use, Duke is rebounding really well this year. I think Wake Forest had 4 offensive rebounds, State had 7, Duke had 15. So you're getting it done on both ends of the boards. And particularly your perimeter players are not afraid to get their nose in there and dig out some tough rebounds. Can you talk a little bit about your rebounding, particularly your perimeter guys?
Yeah, it's been a huge strength to our team. You know, I'd have to go back on the Wake Forest game. I think Tyrese had 7 or 8. Sion, same thing. I mean, our guards have done a great job, and it's both ends of the spectrum. Obviously, it ends their possession, but like I said earlier, it starts our transition offense with a guard handling, and we have 4 guys on the floor, really at all times, or most of the time, that can rebound and push, and so that's incentive, which is great. So go rebound and you get to push it. But then also just sometimes they don't even get the ball, but Sion will tip it or Cooper will just tip it and we'll come up with it because we have 5 guys in there. And, you know, as much as you can, you know, obviously eliminating second chance points is huge. Keeping teams off the foul line, I think we've been good. We can be better at that. But those 2 things have always been important for me and for our teams.
As much as you've missed Malik, is it kind of a hidden blessing for the opportunity and the reps that it's given Patrick to kind of maybe not catch up, but at least not be so far behind?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes as a coach or just as a player, I guess, you can confuse not playing, and I'm not saying that Pat did this, but just you can confuse not playing with a lack of belief or confidence or whatever. And, you know, the goal of is to have a team where you're playing at a high level, and you know Malik and Kaman have done that, and Pat coming back the way that he had, just not missing the preseason, he just wasn't afforded that opportunity as much. And we saw him every day in practice, wanted to focus on his health, and he's given us some key minutes. I mean, he closed in the Wake game and the NC State game, and so really proud of him. I think there's so much more there for him. Like, I think what he's done has been really good, but I think as he goes on in his career, he's going to be just an absolute force. We just have to, I want his ego to continue to grow with what he can do. And he's really smart. He's got great hands, great feel. And obviously we're going to have to continue to evolve and adjust as the season goes on. And so Malik, whenever we get him back, you know, Pat's got to be ready too.
You mentioned Tyrese doing a good job of rebounding at Wake.
Yeah.
He's been taking care of the ball lately. I think 2 turnovers in 5 games, but his scoring has been missing. What's your assessment of the way he's played lately, and what do you advise him to get through this?
You know what, Steve? I think I have to help Tyrese more. We need his scoring. We need his shooting. I have to help him more. You know, I got to get him some more shots. You know, I have to get him in attack mode. He's been such a selfless player, you know, wanting to get others involved and great with, you know, what Cooper's doing or Khan. He's been so unselfish and great. We're a better team if he's shooting and attacking. And so I have to help him with that. He's been working hard. He's been doing all the right things. And also, like the last 2 games, almost everyone was right in and out. So to me, that tells you it's only a matter of time. It's not about his mechanics. It's not about the work. It's just about sticking with it and continuing to be even more aggressive. But I have to help him do that.
Pregame Miles, ABC 11. John, you played in this rivalry. That's well documented. Carolina seems to have been struggling a little bit lately. What have you seen from them on film? And does that make them a more dangerous team, knowing what this rivalry brings year in and year out?
Well, you know what? The thing that I've learned is it doesn't matter the previous games, you know, whether you've won or lost. It doesn't matter what your record is, what your ranking is. Been on both sides of it, right? And so the thing I'll tell you about them, they have a lot of talent. They've lost the margin of error, right? I mean, you change one possession in how many ever of their games, their record looks a lot different. And so the respect level we have for them is as high as it could be. We've played against, I've coached against RJ Davis how many times? It's been a lot. So know what kind of player he is. super talented, as good of a backcourt as there is, and ton of respect. So it's not about, to me, this is the ultimate. When this game happens, records are out the window, all that other stuff, and both teams will be ready to go. I know that.
When you're recruiting, how important is positional height? And when you look at your team out there, what advantage is that giving you this year, especially as you move into a game against the Carolina team that lacks positional height in some places?
For me, it's actually been a little bit of an evolution. I never valued rim protection as much as I did. Like, as a player, I didn't have, it's a good chance for me to knock one of my former teammates, but like Brian Zuback wasn't a shot blocker, all right? Lance Thomas wasn't a shot blocker. They're great teammates and great players, but they couldn't do that. And so all of a sudden, you coach Mark Williams, you coach Derek Lively. Oh, Wendell Carter was really the first. I thought Wendell, when he was here, changed our team with his rim protection. And then you realize, oh, like this is what it feels like to have a guy that can really protect your rim. Now last year, we didn't have that. Doesn't mean we didn't do a good job on defense. We were top 20 defense, but we did it without having somebody that could protect. So Kaman is that. Like, he's the Mark, he's the Wendell. And then, really the last couple of years, I think just led to us making a decision. This is the direction we were going to go with positional size. And as long as you can have the skill, the feel, enough quickness for the way I want to play, and our staff with what we talk about, it's been really important in the recruiting process. But I'd be lying to you if I said that's something that's come up in the past. This has been something over the last, I would say the last year. We were undersized last year. I don't think there's any substitute for length, but you just need to have enough skill, feel, and obviously the quickness is a key thing with having the positional size as well.
Coach, going off what you said about Tyrese and how you want to help him more on the court, do you think this team, this group of guys, has changed or evolved the way that you coach?
Sorry, what do you mean by that? Just
like last week, you said something about how you want to coach, like you want to make sure that you're like doing stuff with Con and Tyrese on the court. Like,
right.
Do you think that you're like changing in your coaching style at all?
Got it. Probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, look, I hope I'm always growing and always evolving. The thing is, these guys, they've taken me on, this journey this year. I mean, they've been incredible to coach, and I've learned a lot from them. The thing that I've liked too, they give me feedback, and that's been something different than I think what I've done in our film sessions. I want them to shout out something they don't understand or something that they see, and have more of a two-way back and forth relationship, when obviously when it comes between the lines, not asking for their opinion. We're obviously in the game and making, real-time decisions, but I hope I'm always growing. So yeah, I think I'm a different, when I say different, I don't know if I'm night and day for the beginning of the year, but I would like to think I'm better than I was from the beginning, better than year 2, better than year 1, and always evolving with who I am as a coach, no question.
Jon, when it comes to recruiting guys like Cooper, other high-level kids that you guys have had, what do you feel like kids like that these days value of the college program, maybe outside of basketball stuff, in terms of helping them, brand-wise, marketing, all that?
Sure.
How have you guys tried to adapt and be that for kids of that level?
Well, I think not every kid looks for the same thing. That's definitely what I found. I think if you were just to say every top player looks for the same thing, I think there's different priorities that different families and different kids have. I don't think any of it's wrong. I think it's all up to them to make the best decision. I think for the guys that ultimately choose Duke, basketball is a huge component, so I'm not going to say that's not. You asked me for not basketball component. The stage is a big deal. I think the stage is a big deal for anybody, obviously. I think going forward, to act like NIL isn't a part of that equation would be foolish to say that. But the guys that we've had throughout our history, wanted to be hard. They wanted the biggest stage, and ultimately, you're not choosing to come to Duke, even if it's for a year, if there's not other decisions besides basketball. Like being a part of Duke truly is something that Cooper wanted to do. You know, it's not going to be to graduate. You know, it's maybe someday he'll come back. I don't think so. You know, but maybe someday. You know, maybe. I think it gets hard to do that for certain guys, just like Mike Posner, my classmate, was coming through now. I don't think Mike would graduate, and it's just a different time. But that to me, ultimately, you're not coming to Duke if it's solely about basketball.
John, we're almost 3 months into Cooper Flag as a college player. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he seems more advanced offensively than he looked in AAU and at Mount Vernon. Have you seen that evolution, and how much has that grown since he got here in the summer?
I think part of it is you have to grow. You know, like you can't be the same offensive player that you were, as good as he was in high school. No matter what level, he played the highest level of everything. And so with him, he just, you know, Connor, he's able to rise to the occasion, and so his game goes along with it. And he's worked really hard on his offensive game. He had a great base from his youth coaches and the work that, you know, first of all, his parents did with him, but also his trainer from home, and the work that Kevin Boyle and his staff did at Mount Vernon. Like, he had a great base. So for us, it was just the next step. He's done a lot of work with Chris Carrawell. They've had a great thing. I think the thing that's been the separator is you have to find your routine as a freshman, and he's found his routine. And that's something that we had to work through to figure out.
Last question here with Brandon.
Yeah, John, you mentioned the respect that you have for Carolina. You're in year 3, Hubert's in year 4 now. You know, you guys see each other on the recruiting trail, spring meetings, yada yada. But now that you guys are a little more entrenched in this, how has your relationship changed? How would you describe your relationship now?
Yeah, I mean, we're always great when we see each other. You know, I think we live pretty close to one another. We never see each other like out on the town or anything. But you know, it's we're not going to dinner. You know, but I have a ton of respect for him, and I think the empathy that we probably share for each other, playing at obviously each of our schools and then coaching in this day and age at this time is different. It's different, and the brand that they have, the school that they have, I think he's done a terrific job. And this thing's really fragile. You know, this thing's really fragile, and so you really are trying to win the margins, right, as a coach. But I have a ton of respect for him. We've always had a good thing, and obviously, I know he'd say the same when we step across those lines. You know, as competitive as could be, but a ton of respect for him and what he's done.
Thank you
guys.
Thanks,
Thank you guys.